Just me today. I'm Mike, and I was on YouTube and I found Triangulum Music Studios 30 Dumb Star Trek Questions I Still Have. And it said, can you answer them? And I said, well, let me see if I can. And I only really thought about the first question. And once I saw that first question, I said, let me go through the transcript and just write down some of the questions and then do my own video where I answer some of the questions and see if anyone pops in or in the comments leaves other questions that maybe we can do a video for and answer later on. But right now I'm just gonna go through these. Again, Triangulum Music Studios on YouTube has a video called 30 Dumb Star Trek Questions I Still Have. Can you answer them? And I'm gonna be just reading them out loud and then off the top of my head answering them and seeing where we go from there. So I guess I'll be doing this till one of my dogs needs to go out or anything else. Here we go. So the first question that he had that made me think, like, let me just write down these questions and see what I think, is number one, how is laundry done on starships? All right. And this might be something that, in the last 40 years, I might have had that thought before. How is laundry done on starships? Like in my mind, especially when I was a kid, but I don't think I never thought of them having, like Riker walks into his closet and just has, a bunch of different uniforms, like the same uniforms. I think in my head, I just thought of them taking sonic showers, wearing their clothes. Since I think sonic showers don't have water or anything. I think it just cleans them using sound waves. Is that what sonic means? I don't know, but I don't necessarily think there's a laundry room, or that maybe there's somewhere in their room they throw their clothes down a chute into some big laundry room. I doubt it. So how is laundry done? I would think that either they put their dirty clothes somewhere and they just replicate new clothes, or somehow their clothes are technology, some new technology cleans it for them. But I don't know if they have different different uniforms. All right, that would be a new question. Like, how many uniforms per week do they go through? All right, if they don't get them, if they don't go down to some planet and get a phaser burn or something like that. All right, so number two, are there barbers on starships? And again, on the video I was watching from Triangulum Music Studios, I wasn't listening anymore. I was just writing down the questions, and I did see that they had Picard's barber on there, giving him a haircut like on the sides, and it's an interesting question. Like, how big does a starship have to be before they actually have a dedicated barber, and that's his only job? Because I'm sure in the military, throughout the ages, they didn't just have a barber. So like, why do they have a barber? In their version of the military or naval fleet in space, but they have a barber, and it's obviously in the show they use him for different plot devices. But why, with the Defiant, when it goes out, from Deep Space Nine, do they bring a barber with them if they're going to be more than a couple of months, or is there some other way to do their hair? Do they do it themselves with some sort of, feel like I froze up there for a second. So sorry. So the barber, maybe, maybe not. I I could actually use one myself, but you know, maybe they wear hats. All right. So number 3, what is the toilet paper situation on starships? Again, I never thought of them as having like a roll of toilet paper. First of all, that goes back to the question of, hey, why can't they just transport the poop out of them, right? But you know, considering the fact that they probably do have to pass stools the way that we all do, um, I would say I would say that when they use toilet paper, there's probably a bidet situation, maybe a sonic bidet. I don't think that they would be, maybe they'd be replicating toilet paper, but I don't think that they're using paper, even though we see them using paper in their books. I doubt that they're killing trees in order to wipe their behinds. Um, but that's just my best guess, all right? And that actually leads to the 4th question. How do bathrooms on starships accommodate different species, all right? Because what happens if you're a species that urinates through your shoulder? I mean, do you have to sort of point your shoulder down that way? I guess that's what it's asking. Um, that's one of those things where it's like, I guess they just do. All right, they accommodate them. We've never actually seen a toilet bowl on any of the Star Trek series. I'm trying to think. Maybe if they did, it would be Enterprise, but I can't remember one. Um, but it's not. Yeah, we haven't seen toilets, you know, on the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine or anything like that, or the original series. So I think that it's safe to assume that if you're a gelatinous being in the Federation and you need a certain type of bathroom, then you would have that accommodation. All right, here we go. Number 5. Does data does data have an infinite power source? All right, now he's not like a Borg where he has to, you know, plug into the wall at night or anything like that. So um, I would say that he does have an infinite power source. We've never seen him run out of power. It doesn't seem like he has batteries. It seems like the kind of thing that they would have addressed if he wasn't some sort of perpetually, uh, powered being. It seems like that's something that Dr. Soong would have somehow figured out. I mean, we do see him have maintenance, so it's possible that part of that maintenance has to do with some sort of power source. But I would say that he has an infinite source of power um, within reason, all right? Within, whatever kind of maintenance he has to get. All right, number 6. Does Guinan in 10 Forward ever sleep or take time off? All right, I guess, I wrote that down, and I didn't want to be influenced by the video that was asking the questions, but I was like, I mean, I'm sure I've seen situations in 10 Forward where Guinan is not in the episode. I don't think Whoopi Goldberg appeared in every episode where there's a 10 Forward. I don't think does she own 10 Forward? Or is she just a bartender in 10 Forward? I don't think it's like Quarks where it's a bar that she owns. I think that she's a member of the crew and that's her post. I've never really thought too much about that one. But I think she definitely sleeps. and she definitely takes time off because there's been plenty of times where we haven't seen her um, when she's actually been on the show. I'm sorry, when she hasn't been on the show. I'm multitasking. I don't think anyone's asking questions. I'm about to do the dumb thing of looking at myself on my laptop. Um, but just in case anyone asks a question, it'll be easier for me to see it on my laptop here, but I'm not going to be looking at myself. All right, so, but again, if you see this later, you ask any questions, Dan and I will do other videos, subsequent videos where we're answering questions that anyone throws out. All right. Okay, here's an enterprise question. How does Hoshi decipher alien languages? All right. So Hoshi on Enterprise, they didn't have a universal translator. She kind of acted like their translator. I mean, I guess she does it the way that anybody else does. And actually, the way the universal translator works is to pick up what I'm not doing right now. So you find communication that species are trying to have, and you look for commonalities, and then try to build upon words that you could tell, oh, that's probably their word for the, because of the way that it's the frequency of use, and then they build out the language from there. How they actually do that, I have no idea. I'm just explaining how I think she does it. Maybe. All right. Number 8. Do people on DS9 pay rent, either for lodging or like Quark? Does Quark pay rent for the bar, or does he own that space? And that's an interesting question. I would think that it's more of a lease situation, where you have to, like, let's say on the promenade, you know, why does Quark get to have his bar there? He's got to be paying for it somehow. Either he paid for it and he perpetually owns that space, or he leases the space first from the Cardassians, which seems weird, but and then from the Federation or the Bajorans, whichever one it is. All right. And I guess for that he gets security, you know, from the Federation, and you know, he provides a service, and he keeps the profits. Do people pay to live there? Like, let's say they're staying over, like, you know, I'm going to Deep Space Nine, and then I'm going to go into the Gamma Quadrant. I don't know. It's a good question. All right. You know, I think it was in Star Trek 4 where Captain Kirk, you know, was like, yeah, we don't use money. But I always thought that could have just been him saying that. I don't think it had to be now canon that there's no more money in the universe. But that's probably another question, you know, some other debate to be had. Number 9, is there a space Tinder or a space DMV? Well, I guess it's sort of two separate questions. Is there a space Tinder? I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's a way for single people to meet in the future on apps. I don't know, you know, instead of, if it's location based, I don't know if it's within a certain amount of light years or anything like that. I don't know what's considered a long distance relationship in the 23rd and 4th centuries. A space DMV, that's interesting because, you know, you're in space and you're traveling with a starship. It seems like there's regulations, but, you know, can I just buy an old shuttlecraft somewhere Do I have to register it? Um, get it inspected, and all that stuff? I don't know. It's a good question. Number 10, how is cabin fever handled on starships? So I guess they mean like, the equivalent of going stir crazy on a ship. Well, it looks like they have, you know, they do build in the idea of shore leave. They have a holodeck. They have 10 forward. We've seen them, even without holodeck, they have places um, to do physical training, like gyms, and they can do yoga and Parisi squares and things like that. So they definitely have, um, it's a big space. They definitely have a lot of things that probably can be stimulating. We do know that what the effects of being at sea for a long time are. It's hard to tell whether that would translate into being in space, in a spacefaring vehicle for a long time. I'd imagine so. I'd imagine there would be a feeling of claustrophobia or of being contained that maybe the holodeck could alleviate, or just being able to get out. If they were on a subspace mission, it's possible that. Sorry, so it's possible that I lost my train of thought, but it's possible that a lot of this kind of stuff would happen on a long space mission. All right. What is the futuristic equivalent of cell phones and mail? Well, I mean, that I don't think I have to guess. It's probably subspace transmissions. Subspace transmissions. There, I answered it. I gotta go get something, but I'll be back in a second. All right, we are almost back. All right, let's take a new question. What are the terms of service for holodecks? Well, I mean, it seems like holodecks are, there's two different types of holodecks. There are the holodecks that are like on the Enterprise, on a big ship. And it seems like that's the kind of thing that you have to, that's relegated by the ship. All right. And I think that if you go on that, that's up to you, right? You probably, I don't think that you can sue them if you get hurt. All right, even because very well that the holodeck safeguards, more often than not, are going to not work. They're going to fail. Now, if you go to Quarks and you go to a holosuite, then I would say that it's Quarks. Quark probably has you sign away your entire life in order to use them. All right. All right. So we got one more question. 1 minute. And why isn't everyone addicted to holodecks? And that's a good question. I mean, I don't know if people are. There's things that have to do with technology that people get addicted to. People get addicted to their phones. They get addicted to adult content. They get addicted to watching Star Trek. Or they get addicted to watching content. They get addicted to scrolling. Constantly doom scrolling. Name the app. So probably not Judge Barclay gets addicted to the holodeck. It's not going to be everybody, but probably a fair number of people are going to get addicted to escapism that the holodeck offers. The same way people get addicted to the escapism that our world offers. the more immersive it is, something like a holodeck, it's going to be able to addict people who would get addicted to that escapism and not wanting to deal with the real world. You know, it's easy to imagine, hey, I could do anything I want at any time. It's easy to imagine, as much as it's easy to imagine getting addicted to that, it's also easy to imagine kind of getting bored of it. You know, unless you take the safety protocols off. It's like, you know, it's almost like imagining stuff. All right. So, what are the privacy implications of ship computers monitoring personal communications? Well, here's what I have to say about that. I'm just making sure I'm still live. Yes. Okay. I don't want to be talking to myself again. So there is no privacy. There's no privacy on a starship. Okay. If you are a service member and you want to use subspace communications to talk to you know, like your commanding officer, there's no privacy there. Now, if you're going to, you know, you want to talk to your spouse at home through subspace communication, I'm sure there's a log of it, it's recorded, and if they needed it for something, they could get it. But I don't think anyone's listening to it all right? It's sort of like some of the privacy concerns that we might have with our own telecommunications companies. But there shouldn't be like any kind of, oh, I think there's no way anyone's can ever listen to this. You know, when they say captain's log, right? Those get recorded and anybody who's above the captain can hear those. Now, when they say captain's personal log, what happens is that gets recorded, but it gets sealed. I don't know if this is canon, but it's, you know, I've read it in the novels. That gets sealed for like 100 years and gets stored somewhere. I think I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and say it was a Star Trek novel from the early 1990s. It was a Reeve Stevens novel. I'm gonna forget. Maybe it was Prime Direct. No, it was Federation, maybe, where Captain Picard was able to look at James T. Kirk's personal records because they had been sealed for over 100 years. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. I might be hallucinating that. What is the role of doctors? Do they also serve as dentists or vets? All right, so please state the nature of the medical emergency, and Data's like, oh, Spot is throwing up hairballs. I don't know. What is the role of doctors? Dr. Crusher's there, and her team are there, and Dr. McCoy and Dr. Bashir and all the other doctors are there to make sure that everyone is their health is all right, you know, from, you know, an emergency and triaging people and performing surgery to, hey, you haven't been here for your checkup. You know, it seems like the doctors in Star Trek were written, because that's what we're talking about, right? We're written as doctors' roles are today. Do they serve as dentists? That I'm not sure. I would hope that in the 24th century, in the Federation, people can figure out how to take care of their teeth. And the vets, that I don't know. All right. I have pets, so I'm not going to say something like you can just replicate pets. All right. The replicate could just give you another pet if your dog gets sick. I would never say something like that. What are the entertainment options available on ships without holodecks? Well, I mean, you can go watch Commander Riker and Beverly Crusher put on plays. Or you could watch Data do stand-up comedy. Although that was in a holodeck, you can watch Data perform poetry, or you can listen to a Klingon opera. The entertainment options, it seems like, I mean, you go to Tim Ford, you actually talk to people. These are the things that we've seen. There's bars and there's shows that people put on. It's almost like high school productions, right? That's what we've seen. Well, you say without a holodeck, so it's, I would just say go on the holodeck. Who are the fashion designers for uniforms? All right, like who I know in production, why Captain Picard had that cool gray shirt with the red jacket, but like who would design that in universe? I have no clue. I can't even think of anything. I guess for the most part, it would go with a military structure, right? The colors mean something. But why does the black part go here and there? Who makes that stylistic choice? I'm stumped. All right. Is there free education in the Federation? I've got to say yes, unless you go to a Ferengi school, then you're going to be paying for it. But anywhere else in the Federation, you're getting a free education. I don't think like Dr. Crusher was like, oh boy, I gotta go back to work on the Enterprise because the Starfleet Medical wasn't paying me enough. So I got to go back work on the ship because Wesley's, going to, be a cadet, and I got to pay the tuition. So I think it's definitely free education in the Federation, where the kids in second grade learn calculus. Remember that. Is there social media in the Federation? We haven't seen any. All right. We don't see them posting, can you believe what Dr. Crusher said about me today? Like, we don't see any of that. All right. I would think that it's not necessarily that they didn't predict that there would be something like social media. It's just that, let's say social media came and went by the 24th century and was replaced by something else. But definitely not social media as we know it today. What is the housing market like in the Federation? I guess just supply and demand. If you want, a villa on Risa, you're going to pay more for it. If you want like a cottage on Data's planet that's been ravaged already, I'm sure it's a lot more. The prices are a lot more negotiable. There. Are there space Ubers in the Federation? Well, that's an interesting one. If you have to get from, let's go local. Let's say you have to go from, a starbase on Venus to a starbase on Jupiter. Is there some sort of subspace app that you can call a thing, or is it like a bus system where you have to wait at a bus stop or a starship stop? I don't know. Are there Ubers in the Federation? What are Starfleet officer contracts like? I think you get a commission as an officer, and you basically serve out as much time as you want to, or until they say, you know what, you're losing your commission. I don't think it's, I know in, it was a 5-year mission in TOS, but I don't necessarily think that was, you only have a contract for that long. Why aren't phasers always used to their full destructive potential? Well, I haven't said any of these are a stupid question. You know, these were self-identified stupid questions, and that's the only one that I would say, like, you know, kind of has the easiest. It's like, well, if you don't have to, especially in the Federation, if you don't have to kill something, you don't kill it. You know, kill someone, you try to stop them with as least amount of force as possible. All right. So that's gonna end the video for tonight. If you have any stupid Star Trek questions that maybe we can discuss in another video, please leave them in the comments. And live long and prosper. I'll see you later.